Welcome to Solutions to Consider. I'm Sophia and Montoya with Keller Williams Realty, and I have been selling real estate since 1981. And I do believe that power is the ability to empower others. And I am very happy to present Michael LaFountain. He is the owner of Coastal Termite Inspections, and he is an expert in the field.
So I think a good place to start
Okay.
would be to talk about the two different types of termites. Here in Southern California, we have two distinctly different types of termites, and the first one would be drywood termites. And the drywood termite distinction would be that the queen actually lives in the structure.
Oh.
And basically when they can swarm from anywhere. They can swarm from your neighbors' houses, from trees, from plants. They're coming from all directions. So basically it takes two termites to enter a home, and then they lose their wings and they start a family. So from that family, it takes them 2 years before they have their own family. So they're starting to reproduce after 2 years. So within the structure, within one home, you can have multiple colonies. Just depends on how many landed that year, how many made it in.
Points of entry.
Yeah, points of entry. How many, reproduced, and then for every year it's exponential. So it's not like you just have one colony that you need to take care of. This is families over generations. So every year there's swarming, and they swarm by the thousands, and your home, unless you encapsulate your home, you're in some thick plastic that they can't get into, you're always going to have termites. If you have 3,000 to 5,000 miles on your car, it's basically kind of a similar thing as a homeowner. You have about 8 to 12 years as a homeowner, which is recommended for you to change your oil, to fumigate your house. And that depends on how close you live to the ocean. So if you live closer to the ocean, that's a higher concentration of termites. So you're getting closer to the 8 years. If I do houses in Venice, sometimes at even around 6 years, if they're really on the ocean, the concentrations are so high that they're just getting new termites. You can fumigate, and the next day you're getting new termites. So the idea that there's a protective barrier that termites won't come to your home, it's actually a fallacy.
Whatever you want. Okay.
Earlier I mentioned subterranean termites, and they're the close cousins to the drywood termites, the other issue that we have here in Southern California. And they're kind of a little more secretive than the drywood termites. The queen, she lives underground, and she could live 30 to 50 feet underground. And one queen can occupy about an acre of land. So the termites that the problem that you're having in your home, it's the same queen 3, 4 houses down. So traveling to. They can't live in the outside air, so they bring the soil with them. So basically, they rotate up to your house, and they breach. If you're on a concrete slab, they'll come through a crack. If you're on a raised foundation, they'll make one of these tunnels to the wood. So it's like a tunnel system. And the only way to really take care of subterranean termites is to lay down a chemical barrier, and you're basically kicking them out to your neighbors or another tree or your fence or something. That's really it is a chemical specific to subterranean termites, to eliminating subterranean termites. It basically leaches itself into the ground and expands, so it creates about a 1 to 2 foot barrier that if they're coming up and they hit that, they can't go through it, so they go around. And so if you have this chemical barrier around the perimeter of your house, or underneath if you have a sub area, you're just protecting them from coming into your home. So
For how long?
For a year. Chemical's good for about a year.
Say that.
And in regards to pets, I get a lot of people worried about their pets and the chemicals, if that's going to affect them, but it actually doesn't. Once the chemical for subterranean termites permeates the ground and dries, it doesn't affect it. It actually has no effect on humans or pets, unless you're a termite, unless your pets are termites.
Unless your pets are termites.
Subterranean termites, because not every house has subterranean termites. It's not like drywood termites. Drywood termites, if you live south of Mulholland, you have termites. If you just fumigated, you're gonna get them back. With subterranean termites, it doesn't work that way. it's hit or miss, and you should really be aware. That's why it's so important to have some kind of regular termite inspection to know if you really have subterranean termites, because they do more damage and you can prevent them from coming into your home, unlike drywood termites. Drywood termite damage is usually more evident on the exterior eaves of a home, in the attic. It doesn't mean that they both can't do either or, but it's just a little bit easier for subterranean termites to do their work in a sub-area because it's close to the ground, and vice versa. Anytime you see a termite company that says the word control on it, that means something. That means that they have most likely merged with a different license, which is the bugs and pests, and people don't know the difference. But those are actually two very different businesses. And the big companies merge them together so they can treat them as one. And so with spiders and ants, and those are all insects that temporarily visit your home and then can leave. You know, ants is usually because you've got some food laying around or something that they want. Termites are completely different. Termites are always going to be there. So what happens with these bigger companies, and other smaller companies do the same thing, anyone with the word control, they try to get you into these contracts. They treat termites like they treat spiders and bugs. Regular, monthly, come by and check it out. And people get this feeling that their termites are being taken care of, this false security of, I've got someone taking care of the termites. My business practices are a little bit ahead of the game, is because I've always kept things honest. I'll tell you what is wrong with your house, and there's enough business out there that you can be honest. You don't need to coerce people into trying to get them to pay monthly services so that your business can thrive. I try to educate people what they have to deal with, how to work, and when it's time for me, then I'll step in. That could be years down the road. But there's a lot of things that people can do on their own as homeowners that you don't need to pay someone monthly these ridiculous fees just for something that you can do. So I've always just tried to keep it honest, and it usually pays off, I've found. And I learned that from the person that I started working for from the very beginning. This is the way that we do stuff. So in regards to repairs, I would say the one thing that's really important and helpful with coastal termite is I am a licensed contractor, and I do 90 to 95% of the construction work. So unless it's something out of my scope or it's a lot of damage, typically I'm the one repairing it. And I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, so I like the fact that I know it's going to get done the way I need it to be done.
Good job. What happens then?
You know, and when I can't do the work myself, I only hire the best. So my subcontractors have to be at a level that I feel is a quality that I would do myself if it was me. So, for example, if it's work that I can't do and I subcontract out, for instance, a stall shower, that's something in Southern California homes that typically goes bad. That's a pretty set price, depending on the size and how far up in the tile. So I'll know the price and I'll incorporate that into my estimate. But other things like foundations and such, it's very hard to estimate because you don't know until you're in there, to those companies are digging that stuff out. So I leave the estimates up to those professionals. So a lot of times people think we're just looking for termites. That's not actually true. Termite is just a key word. We're actually wood-destroying organisms inspectors. So that means we have to handle a myriad of more things than just termites. So a lot of times I'll start looking at other things besides termites and people wonder what I'm looking at. But we have to inspect for fungus, dry rot, water damage, a lot more stuff than just termites. So when you have a full termite inspection in your house, you're not just getting the subterranean and drywood termites that we discussed. And fungus actually is more important in the grand scope of things, because water damage and fungus, it does more damage in a much shorter period of time. So if you have a leak or you have some kind of fungus growing, that's something that needs to be rectified right away, because you can have thousands of dollars in damage in a month's period of time, opposed to termites drywood termites taking a few years, subterranean taking a few months. So
of escrow. So top dollar is not just your first contract price. That contract price can be adjusted either in net dollars or in negotiations as inspections reveal things that are wrong with your home. And when you have a termite inspection, they will reveal these things about the termites, the fungus, and the dry rot. But as a homeowner, prior to putting your home on the sale, you can have the inspection done and the work done and have it fully documented. And that will empower you to ask for a better price.
Also, yeah, I mean, when you're, one, it's always good to have your ducks in order and you know what you're going into on regards to termite, but also when you're selling a home and you have multiple inspections happening, you've got the geo, the physical guy coming out, the plumber, you get inundated with all these expenses, and it's tough. I see it happening, and there's times where I have to get my report right after the next guy, and it's like, God, I feel really bad for these people. It's like thousands of dollars, they had no idea, they just wanted to sell their home. So this helps really manage, okay, this, we needed a lot, this, we already took care of this, now I'm ready, tell me, Mr. Inspector, what do I have to deal with next? But because it can be overwhelming, and it actually could lead to people just saying, you know what, give them whatever they want, or let's just not sell, this is, or, you know, I didn't know my house needed all these things. It's kind of a, it's tough, you know, you think you're doing the right thing, all of a sudden you've got $10,000 in plumbing. But it's, like I said, it's always nice to start out to know before you go in, and it makes you look really prepared.
Yes, and I